Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that's often misunderstood. Sometimes controversial, but undeniably a huge part of our future. Bioengineered foods. You might know them as GMOs, or genetically modified organisms. But what does that really mean? Are they safe? And could they be the key to feeding a growing global population sustainably? Let's break it all down. First, let's get the basics straight. Bioengineering in food is essentially a modern, more precise version of what we've been doing for centuries. Think about it. Farmers have always crossbred plants to get desirable traits like sweeter corn or bigger tomatoes. Bioengineering just takes that process to the lab, allowing scientists to make very specific changes to a plant's DNA. This could mean making a crop resistant to a certain disease, enhancing its nutritional value, or enabling it to grow in tough conditions like a drought. So, how does it work? Imagine a plant's DNA as a massive instruction manual. Scientists can identify the exact sentence that gives a plant a specific trait. For example, they might find the gene that helps a particular bacterium survive in freezing temperatures. They can then carefully copy that gene and insert it into the DNA of a strawberry plant. The result? A strawberry that's more resistant to frost, which means fewer crops are lost to a sudden cold snap. It's an incredibly precise process, far from the random mixing of genes that happens in traditional crossbreeding. One of the most famous examples is golden rice. In many parts of the world, vitamin A deficiency is a serious public health issue, leading to blindness and other health problems, especially in children. Scientists engineered golden rice to produce beta-carotene, which our bodies convert into vitamin A. It was designed specifically to help combat this deficiency in communities that rely heavily on rice as a staple food. This is a perfect example of using biotechnology to directly address a global health crisis. Another big win for bioengineering is in farming efficiency and sustainability. Take pest-resistant crops, for instance. Some corn and cotton have been engineered to produce a natural protein that is toxic only to specific insect pests. This means farmers can spray significantly less chemical pesticide on their fields. That's a huge benefit for the environment. It reduces chemical runoff into our water systems and protects beneficial insects like bees and butterflies. It also means less exposure to these chemicals for farm workers. Then there are herbicide-tolerant crops. These are designed to survive the application of a specific herbicide that kills the weeds around them. This allows farmers to control weeds more effectively without tilling the soil as much. This practice, known as no-till farming, is fantastic for soil health. It prevents erosion, helps the soil retain water, and keeps more carbon locked in the ground instead of being released into the atmosphere. So in this way, bioengineered crops are a tool in the fight against climate change. But let's talk about the big question on everyone's mind. Are they safe to eat? This is probably the most debated aspect of GMOs. Here's what the science says. Every major scientific and medical organization around the world has concluded that bioengineered foods currently on the market are just as safe to eat as their non-engineered counterparts. We're talking about the World Health Organization, the American Medical Association, the U.S. National Academy of Sciences, the list goes on. These foods go through years of rigorous testing for safety, potential allergies, and nutritional content before they ever get close to a grocery store shelf. In fact, they are among the most studied foods in our entire food supply. So why all the controversy? A lot of it stems from a lack of information and, let's be honest, some very effective marketing campaigns against them. People are naturally wary of what they don't understand, especially when it comes to their food. Concerns often revolve around a few key areas: potential long-term health effects, the impact on the environment, and the business practices of the large corporations that develop these seeds. These are valid questions to ask. The concern about creating new allergens is a real one, which is why allergy testing is a mandatory and critical part of the safety assessment process. If a gene is taken from a known allergen, like a peanut, the resulting food would have to be labeled as such. To date, no allergic effects have been found in any of the commercially available GMOs. As for the environmental impact, as we discussed, in many cases it's actually positive. Less pesticide use and healthier soil are significant wins. However, there are concerns about the rise of herbicide-resistant superweeds. This can happen when farmers rely too heavily on a single herbicide. It's a real problem, but it's an issue of farming practice, not a flaw in the technology itself. The solution lies in smart farm management, like rotating crops and using different weed control methods. which is a principle of sustainable agriculture in general, with or without GMOs. Then there's the corporate control aspect. It's true that a few large companies dominate the bioengineered seed market. This raises legitimate concerns about seed prices, farmer dependence, and biodiversity. These are important economic and social issues that we need to address as a society. But it is crucial to separate these business and political issues from the scientific safety of the food itself. Criticizing a company's business model doesn't mean the technology they've developed is inherently bad or unsafe. Looking ahead, the potential for bioengineered foods is truly staggering. Imagine apples that don't turn brown when you slice them, reducing food waste. That's already a reality with Arctic apples. How about potatoes that produce less acrylamide, a potentially harmful compound when fried? They exist. Scientists are also working on crops that can thrive in salty soil, which could open up vast new areas for farming, especially in coastal regions affected by rising sea levels. They're developing plants that are more efficient at photosynthesis, meaning they can grow more food with the same amount of sunlight and water. And we're seeing research into bioengineered foods that could deliver vaccines or other medicines. The possibilities are really only limited by our imagination and our ethical considerations. The climate is changing, and our global population is projected to reach nearly 10 billion by 2050. We need to produce more food, more nutritious food, and we need to do it using less water, less land, and with a smaller environmental footprint. Bioengineered crops are not a magic bullet that will solve everything, but they are an incredibly powerful tool in our toolbox. To ignore this technology or to be afraid of it based on misinformation would be a massive missed opportunity for humanity. It's all about making informed choices. When you see bioengineered on a label, it's an opportunity to be curious, not fearful. It's a chance to understand the story behind that food, the problem it was designed to solve, and the science that made it possible. We need more open, honest conversations about this technology, based on scientific evidence, not on fear. We need to support policies that ensure this technology is used responsibly, ethically, and for the benefit of everyone, not just a few large corporations. The future of food will likely be a blend of all the best farming methods we have, traditional, organic, and yes, bioengineered. Each has its strengths and its place in building a secure and sustainable food system for the future. By embracing scientific innovation while also demanding corporate and regulatory responsibility, we can harness the incredible potential of bioengineering to create a healthier and more food-secure world for generations to come. So, what are your thoughts? Have you changed your mind about bioengineered foods, or do you still have concerns? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective and continue this important conversation. Thanks so much for watching, and if you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives into the science that shapes our world. See you in the next one.